it's Arena, and it is a beautiful, cold, but sunny day in Kansas City, Missouri. Welcome to the Rose Nation, and today we've been waiting to do this is the BEL podcast, Freeze the Fall, manager Ginny Becker. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this out. I like to, when I'm interested and invested into a band, I like to know more about the band. And you'll see that I will look more into something. I elaborate. You know what I mean? I want to know more about them. And so let's check this out. This is part one so far. It is a 53-minute um interview, so I'm having a hard time focusing. I'm nervous. I was nervous about this to begin with. I have ADD and shit like that. I have a hard time focusing, so I'm gonna work on this. Let's go ahead and I put on The Lost Boys, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Freeze the Fall. If you've not seen that movie, 1987 vampires, epic. Okay, let's go ahead and start out. BEL podcast, Freeze the Fall, manager Ginny Becker. Let's go. Thank you for your time and thank you for all the love, y'all. Hit it.
Welcome everybody to the BEL podcast. I'm joined today by my friend Ginny, who is the Freeze the Fall manager, band manager, momager extraordinaire. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you spending your morning with me.
Thanks for having me, Jesse.
Of
I couldn't think of
course.
someone better to have coffee with in the morning.
Yeah, I was
Nice.
just telling the band the other day. It's
Cheers.
been too long since I've actually had coffee with you guys. So
I know. Well, I'm sure that we're going to have a number of reasons for you to come hang out with us in 2025. So
hey, I'm
there'll
looking forward to that.
be lots of coffees.
I love coffee.
Why don't you take a moment, introduce yourself, and tell everyone? I mean, you're the manager of Freeze the Fall, but why don't you tell everyone what your role kind of looks like and a little bit about who you are?
Sure, yeah. So, Ginny, I'm the other half of Craig and Ginny, and Aria's mom, but also manager for the band. And there's 6 parents that are involved in the band, and everybody has a role. It's there's quite a bit of machinery supporting the band from the background, but as the manager, I wear a number of hats for the band. Principally, I do all the coordination for the band, so coordinating all their schedule, gigs, rehearsals, recordings, all of that, like scheduling and working with 26 Films. I do all of that work. And then I collaborate with the other parents on other projects. So, in those 6 parents, Quinn's parents, Jennifer and Tyler, they run the whole merch program for the band, which is massive. We're fortunate that, Tyler's and Jennifer's business, that skill set lends itself really well to that. So they do all of that. And Krista manages the socials. I help support her in the background in terms of interacting on socials, but Krista's responsible for all the posting and scheduling and that sort of thing. So it takes a village for sure. Everybody's busy.
Well, I think like the dream is we're just going to write really cool music and everyone's going to love it, but you really got to be able to push it and continuously tap your audience, and like there's a lot more that goes into it than just writing music, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. You had sent me something a while ago, an article that I watched about, having great music is like 1/4 of the equation. And certainly we've learned a lot about that over the past couple of years. But it's been such a joy to support the band from the background. It does make you understand why there's so many talented people who never really get that opportunity to exit. We talk about the garage band idea all the time, and this engine in the background that was so naturally built around Freeze the Fall, just out of the natural skill sets of the families. I think it's kind of it's a rare thing for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Wow, I absolutely love it. I love the fact that the parents are supporting for the dreams for their children. It's amazing. And yeah, especially with technology, there's a lot more to it dealing with social medias, all the schedules and stuff, all that. Very interesting. I really love this. I'm glad I did this.
So you mentioned the garage band thing, so let's jump into that. So can you tell me from your perspective, either as their now manager or just as a parent, like how did the band come to be? What's that story?
Good question.
Yeah, it's funny because I think the observation of it from our end versus the way they tell it is it's not different. It's just different perspectives. I think from the parents' perspective, there was definitely a really pivotal moment between Quinn and Aria in middle school, and you've heard them talk about this in interviews where they spotted each other in the hallways, really kind of based on their band t-shirts, but it actually goes back a little further. I remember Quinn once mentioning Aria had dressed up as a particular character for Halloween one year, and Quinn recognized the character where 99% of people wouldn't. And so she reflected on that, and then that was kind of what started their noticing Aria in the hallways. And but the funny part about that story that I don't think they ever mention is it was I think pretty much the last day of middle school that year, which would have meant Quinn was moving schools, so they would never see each other at school again. And Aria came running into my car, and I was picking her up from school, and she's like, "Mom, I met the coolest girl. She wants to jam and hang out." I'm like, "Oh, that's great. What's her name?" And Aria said, "I don't know. I didn't ask." So
my son.
There was
Classic.
chance we were never going to see her again. But as it goes, the kids go to the same musical school, and not more than a few nights later, we were all there in the audience, and I recognized Quinn because she had pointed her out walking away, sort of thing. And I was like, "Oh, that's that girl. We got to go find her." But by the time I found Aria, she was already with Quinn, and they were exchanging numbers and all that. And Quinn literally came over to our house, a few days later, with guitar in hand, and that was it. The kids were connected. And then for Jonah, about a month after that, I had posted a video on my Instagram, which is still there. But I had posted this video of a family jam where Aria was doing a Bring Me the Horizon bass cover, and a fellow named
Bring Me the Horizon. That's what the symbol means. And forget me nots around it because it was for my mom. My mom passed away in March. Wow, I love it. Bring Me the Horizon is one of my favorites. It's in between Breaking Benjamin and Bring Me the Horizon. And they're vastly different. Wow, that is so rad.
Sean Lightfoot, who's a lead singer
Hold
of
on,
the time I found Aria. She was already with Quinn, and they were exchanging numbers and all that. And Quinn literally came over to our house, a few days later, with guitar in hand, and that was it. The kids were connected. And then for Jonah, about a month after that, I had posted a video on my Instagram, which is still there. But I had posted this video of a family jam where Aria was doing a Bring Me the Horizon bass cover, and a fellow named Sean Lightfoot, who's a lead singer of a really cool local cover band, spotted it, and he knew Jonah very well. Jonah had sat in with his cover band a couple of times when his drummer was out of town, and him and I used to work together. So he just reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, your daughter's really talented. Do you think she'd be interested in meeting this really talented 14-year-old drummer I know?" 14.
14.
And I'm like, "I don't know. I'll check this little drummer out."
Yeah.
We'll see.
Drummer boy.
So Craig and I and a friend of ours, we took Aria and we went down to the park to watch. Jonah was doing a sort of a solo thing in our Parks Alive here. And it was funny because it was the most awkward meeting in the history of ever. Aria walked up to him and was like, "Hey, do you want to jam sometime?" And he's like, "Sure." And that was it. That was the whole conversation. But thank goodness for Krista, because Krista spotted the interaction. Then she right away came over and introduced herself. And as the parents kind of connected, and then it wasn't, again, I think between themselves, they decided to choose some cover songs. And that very first day they jammed was at Jonah's house. And from there, it was kind of, they spent the whole summer together after that. Like they were inseparable and just started writing music. And it was quite something to watch, actually.
That's so cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And as an outsider, again, like myself coming in and meeting everybody, you'd think that your families have been friends forever.
Yeah, we got very lucky there because, there's if it goes somewhere, you're really kind of in it together, right? And so we did get very lucky that the families all just kind of jived right from the beginning.
I
and
love that.
Everyone
It
was
meant to be.
I think it's safe to say everyone was like equally on board with the concept. I think a couple of us were more like, "They're going to the Grammys," like maybe Krista and I. But I think everyone right from the beginning was very supportive. And even if all it ever was a great way for teenagers to spend time together doing something productive and safe and healthy, everybody was on board for that.
Agreed.
So we got lucky that everybody got along really well and just made great friends. And now we spend Christmas and together and hang out and all of that. So yeah, it's great. It's good. And I think it's good for the kids too, because it's all that support just built in.
Mm-hmm.
And they all feel like at home at all of our houses because, they come here, they eat all the things and hang out, and everybody's comfortable in everybody's space, which is good.
Typical teenager stuff, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember trying to help Jonah with his moonwalk in your kitchen there.
Hey.
And I also did the moonwalk not long ago.
Oh, nice.
Which is still trying.
Yeah. Krista tells a really beautiful story too about, I think it was the first time they were jamming, and she's kind of listening and she goes, I think that's pretty good. And then she goes and takes like a little closer listen. She's like, I think there's like actually something here. And then trying to explain that as like a mother, not trying to be like, yeah, my kid's great, but being like, I actually think this is pretty good. Do you have thoughts on that?
Sure. I mean, we've talked about that a lot, that even now there's this thing where people who it's maybe not their style of music, or they, they're not really paying attention. There's still a moment where we can be talking to people and they're like, no, like they have a shot at doing some pretty cool things. But a lot of people, oh yeah, that's cute. Your kid's in a band. Yeah, it's cute.
I'm going to tell you, right, I'm going to make it really, really quick because it's a long video as it is. But when I was a teenager, I had a sister, a best friend for like 15 years. And she was dating this guy, and they dated for like 6 years. I mean, they started from like 13 years up to like 19 years old, and then they broke up and everything like that. Anyways, I got to experience hanging out with my friends because he had basically a garage band, but it was just a room in their house. And it's amazing. So much fun. Covers, things like that. And his name was Tim, and he is so creative. It was disgusting how creative he was. But I'm glad that I got to experience that. They had little gigs and things like that, the local bands. It was amazing. Really enjoyed it. Okay, let's go. I just
And
wanted
then trying to explain that as like a mother, not trying to be like, yeah, my kid's great, but being like, I actually think this is pretty good.
That's always
do you have
No,
thoughts
for
on that?
sure. I mean, we've talked about that a lot, that even now there's this thing where people who it's maybe not their style of music, or they, they're not really paying attention. There's
They're
still
talented.
a moment where we can be talking to people and they're like, no, like they have a shot at doing some pretty cool things. But a lot of people, oh yeah, that's cute. Your kid's in a band. Yeah, it's cute, but it's also kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But it's funny because they wrote the song Insomnia was their first song. It's still one of my favorite songs that they've written, probably just because it was the first. And
I'll need that. I'll need a link or something like that.
it was a song about like insomnia, like sleep anxiety, essentially. And they played that first song for us. They met Jonah in like late July, early August. And that song they played for us as a family in mid-September. So it wasn't even 6 weeks when they wrote their first song. They still play that song live at almost every show. They tell us they'll never record it. But the moms love it. So we're hoping someday they'll do it just for us. But I remember the 6 of us all standing in Jonah's basement, and they're like, hey, we want to play this song for you that we wrote. And it was like radio silence when they finished for a second. And I will never forget, because I looked at Craig. So Craig is definitely, of the 6 parents, he is the music man. Like he's been in bands for years, and he's a drummer, and he's learning the audio. He does all their demo tracks and stuff. I looked at him for like validation. Same thing with Krista. I'm like, as a mom, I'm like freaking out. That was really amazing. But I think it was actually good. And Craig was the sort of litmus test. And he was like, yeah, that was kind of awesome, actually.
I don't know
like,
what that means.
and again, go back in time. They were 14 and 15 years old at the time. So, certainly their songwriting has advanced significantly since then, but it's still a really beautiful song.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hell of a time with the lyrics. I really do. They are way more above my intelligence. They are young. They're great with their lyrics and their storytelling. I just sometimes, like after having the aphasia, I have a very hard time understanding things sometimes. And I get frustrated, but I'm glad that I'm still around and I still have a great time and I still push for my dreams. And everybody's got to have a dream. Let's go.
It's got a nasty bass breakdown too. So
I love that song.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so they write their first song, they play a few covers. We've heard the story about One Left Standing and how that came to be. What were the steps to get from, like, say, there to the early recordings at Crown and Thieves that we all have?
You know, once they had the 5 songs, there's a couple of people involved in, again, because you're trying as parents not to be, we don't want to put pressure on them. We just want them to have fun and write music, but also to explore what it looks like to take the next step. And there's a couple of people involved in kind of taking that leap. One of them was Justin Gordon, just saying, there are great producers in this town. It was him who said, like, let me introduce you guys to Jordan. We met other people too, but that was kind of the thing that catalyzed us. He's like, they've got 5 songs. Like, even if it's just so you have them on a CD someday later in your life, why not record them? So that was, the seed was planted there a little bit. And then the thing that happened, like, that got us thinking about, maybe we do make some investments and try this out. But then the other thing that happened was once they went, so if you go back all the way to the beginning, they had been invited to participate in this, like, Broken Hearts Idol, which was a contest held at Crown of Thieves, hosted by Jason Parks at the time. And it was Justin Gordon who got them on that stage. And that stage was
That's nice.
A couple of solo singers. I think there was a comedian, there was the band. Like, it was a talent show, basically. And Freeze the Fall won, and they blew everyone's minds, really, with the music. So what they won was the opportunity to go back and open for Proper Man, which is Jason Parks' band that Justin Gordon drums for. And once we knew they were doing that, it was actually Tyler who said, I think we should invest in recording them. Like, if they don't have anything on YouTube, then nobody can see what they can do. So even for in my role, when I'm constantly looking for gig opportunities or applying to some of the small local festivals without any evidence of their ability to play music live, it was really hard to find them gigs. So we all decided, we'll equally invest. So the families each contributed, and we hired 26 Films, who we didn't even know at the time. It was just, I think Tyler had a friend who knew someone, and that's how we got connected to them. And I think they've told you this story, but when they walked into the green room that night, they're like, why are there kids in the green room? They're looking for the band. They were like, why are there children here?
Children.
Anyway, so we spent the money to have them come out. And so those first 5 videos that you see are all from that night. And incidentally, they ended up also recording Proper Man that night. So they did videos for Proper Man too. But yeah, that made a big difference, because that was that first, the cover that they did that night of Evolve was
Proper Man. If there's any, this is a lot. It's a lot to take in with a lot of names and this and that. I'm not going to be able to remember everything. But the main things I'm going to look into is to make a list on my planner or whatever, and about the parents, Ginny and the husband. Like, I can't remember if that was Chris or something like that. It was a lot. It was a lot of names. But if there's any songs that I've not reacted to, please give me the link. And then I give it to Abby or John. That's my team. And they look it up and make sure that everything will sound and look fabulous. I really enjoy this. This is absolutely amazing. It's a great interview. It's not boring. If I seem a little boring, I'm trying to retain information and listening and focused, which I'm not the best at, but I'm on it. I'm on it. Okay, so that was the first, the cover that they did. It said Proper Man. Let's see.
really the first piece of content that opened the door to the reactor community for sure, which has been, that's been such a wildly outrageous,
Love you.
very cool thing to learn about. But yeah, that's how that kind of came to be. And right around the same time, we had started thinking about putting them in studio. And then, we introduced them to a number of different producers. But there was like the skies opened and birds sang when they met Jordan. Like that was it.
Yeah.
He was the guy. So, there was no real competition there, but yeah.
It was the blue nail polish.
The blue nail polish, the blonde streak in his hair, and just he just talked to them like adult, like grown-ups. Like he didn't talk to them like kids and oh, it's cute that you want to record music. He just right away was invested in their creative process and wanting to understand how they wanted to write music, and also taking the opportunity to teach and guide them too, because they are so still, young. They have a lot to learn, and he found a really great way to teach but not take over, which I think was the biggest thing as parents. Like the 6 of us sat there and just grilled him.
I bet.
There were 9 of us. Like it was like a panel interview in his studio. And I literally pulled out the old, why should we hire you? And Jennifer was, had many questions. But yeah, so we kind of interviewed him that way, and he was great. I think everybody equally felt the same way about Jordan from the beginning. So just been and our biggest thing was we didn't want someone to come in and change who they wanted to be. We wanted someone who could help them formulate what they already knew they wanted to be. And that's really what Jordan did.
Totally.
Very nice.
And so that relationship started, the EP kind of came and started, working its way through. I remember you guys calling me and being like, you got to hear what's coming out of this. And I had high hopes, but like the project we got blew us all away. I really think that that's part of what catapulted you guys into like acceptance with the reactor community, because we're at I think we just broke 200 individual reactions or something like that.
No, I think it's over 300 reaction videos.
Nice.
Over 80 unique reactors, I think now.
Crazy.
Old Man Yenny or someone is gonna like comment on this and be like, no, it's this. But we appreciate them. They track everything, which is amazing. So many people out there doing so many great things for the band.
So can you speak to me? Let's do this in 2 parts. So first off, as the band manager, can you speak to me about how the reaction community has been, like how it felt seeing the band that you're managing get picked up, get introduced, get spoken about, critiqued, et cetera, et cetera. Can you talk about that with the reactors a little bit?
Yeah, happy to, because I've spent a lot of time interacting with the reactors, and that I will be totally honest, like hard on the sleeve. If you had said music reactor to me in July of 2022, I would have said, who's that now? Like I would not have even known what that meant. I'm not someone who would have spent a lot of time on YouTube. I didn't really have any context for what that even was. But once those videos went out, and the kids have told this story a couple times, I think, but
shout out to the reactors. Yes, with me personally, I believe in this band. I think that they are absolutely brilliant. Sounds absolutely amazing. I'm glad that I did VHS first. I think so. And then the fact that I was contacted by Freeze the Fall, and that was absolutely amazing. It's a highlight of my career on YouTube. I mean, we're people, but it was still amazing that they took their time and watched. So I think we both have a mutual respect. It's kind of like, wow, you're really taking out of your time to do this. Yes, of course I will. I stand by this band. And she seems like a really nice person. I'm not sure, I could be wrong. I think I was told that BEL this gentleman is Jesse, I think. I could be wrong. Definitely please correct me. I like the fact that you all are so kind to me and not being like shitty, because I do have issues, but I still love to learn. I was one of those kind of people growing up with MTV VHS with all the pop-up videos. I don't know if you remember that from VHS, where it would tell you little facts and shit. Like, that's what I like. I like that. I also wanted to let you know that I'm not able to wear my rings right now because it's been so cold that my wedding ring, and all the other ones keep falling off. So we're all right. We're good. I just wanted to let you know that's not trouble in paradise. We're all good.
People tag you, so it automatic. I'm in the management with Krista on those accounts, and so you right away see the flag come out. And the first reaction was a little bit unkind, and not that the band or us as parents don't understand that constructive criticism is part of the journey. Like, if you're going to put your art out there will be people who like it and people who don't, and we prepared the kids for that. But this person was actually a bit cruel in his feedback, and so all of us got this really like, whoa, that's not
Scary.
Great. So we didn't engage, and we just kind of stayed out of it. And so much so that I think it was the second reaction, which was this guy I know named Jesse.
Hey, whoever that goof is.
Was the second, at least it was the second one we saw. If there was something in between, I don't know. But I think I might have been the first one to watch yours, maybe me or Krista, not sure. And I texted the family to say, hey, there's a reaction. And I remember some of the parents being like, I don't even know if I want to watch it. Like, no thanks. I'm like, no.
I understand.
You should watch it. Like, it's really good. And it's really, I don't know if on that day, though, we could have had any understanding of where that would lead in terms of an entire community of reactors really embracing this young band. And I think what's so exciting about it for us is we get excited every time a reaction video comes out. Everybody watches it. The whole family watches them. Dear reactors, we all watch them. Everybody's watching. But I think what's exciting about it too is you can feel the sort of symbiotic excitement between the reactors and Freeze to Fall, in the sense that you get the idea that the reactors are excited to be part of this journey that this young band is on. And that, and from our camp to yours, they're not just witnessing it, they're such an active part in it. Because when we write applications for festivals and things right now, these are some of the numbers we're including in, we're legit because look at this, right? So it's a really important part of marketing we could never have afforded on our own, if that makes sense. Like, it's this guerrilla warfare marketing style that reactors, and I wish more people understood it, because for the most part, and I can say this other than that one guy who I don't even know what that video is anymore, every single reactor that's ever reacted to Freeze to Fall has done so in a positive way. Some have had criticism, constructive criticism, but all in a really productive and wholesome way that respected them as artists, not just as kids, because that's but as artists.
Yeah, I don't want to keep saying they're so young, but it's also like, wow, especially with the lyrics and the music videos. I've only done 2, but they're amazing. And they even put little Easter eggs that had Ginny, the moms, as the witches. And I love little small details like that. I do. I have things everywhere, all over the place, and there's always a reason why it's there. Sometimes I'll move stuff around, and if you notice, and you'll be like, "Oh, look, I spy," This is really cool. That mutual respect for sure. I got a little emotional about it. I'm like a little weepy today for some reason, but Ginny's pretty, she's bomb.com. I'm all about it. Let's go. Because that's not, but as artists, yes, you want to be treated for your talent, not necessarily your age, but it does blow your mind.
And giving them space to create. So yeah, it's been a very, very cool experience to see how the reactor community can lift music up, because without them, I really don't know if we'd be in the same place right now. Like, I think the kids would still be writing great music and we'd still be working our butts off to do what we can, but that what's happening online is such an important part of getting noticed, and you can't, like, that same activity would have, like the financial investment to get that same amount of traction. And it's not as, even if you spent all that money doing hundreds of thousands of dollars of ads, it's not engagement in the same way, right? Like, it's not the same. When you go and look at our videos, there's so many comments and likes and people sharing. And that to me is really because of the reactors and driving people to the channel to see it.
Because
There's
they're
nothing I love more than
awesome.
reactors who are like, stop what you're doing right now and just go subscribe to this young band. Like, go, like, leave my channel and then come back.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see how supportive it is, for sure.
Well, like myself included, and I haven't been a reactor that long. Like I think I'm at the end of my third year, maybe going into my fourth. I might have that wrong though. And you see bands that maybe have 200,000 subscribers and now they're about to cross 1 million. And it like you feel like even though maybe you didn't contribute to all that growth, it felt like you got to watch it happen. And
Yeah.
with you guys, it's like we're really there at like the ground floor. Like we're, like
And it is hard to get subscribers.
it's really hard. Yeah.
I feel for you guys because it is
Yeah.
hard to grow the subscriber base.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of content, a lot of effort. So yeah.
Yep. And it's a really beautiful thing to get to see. I'm hoping the fruits of everyone's labor be what's driving a little bit of the success, right? Like if I made one video, it's not going to turn you guys into a pro band, but if a whole bunch of us band together and do 5-6 videos each, then that might draw you guys enough attention to make the needle move a little bit. And it's
And some of the band's goals, that's such an important part of it because the Spotify numbers and Apple Music and all that, it's only one part of the equation. People really want to know, like, what do they look like live? How do people react to them when they're playing live music? And that's something that can only come from those videos. And that's why we were really excited to be able to start to put out some of the more live videos this year, because for a long time, the band had actually advanced significantly, but we were still relying on those early Crown of Thieves videos, which are still good. But they're no longer representative of what the band is on stage or where they're at. So this last summer, getting to do stuff like the Revelry show and then the Oodalali night, which is just starting to come out, has been
Patreon, y'all. Go to the Patreon.
Yeah,
You can get
on
it now.
Patreon. Come find us. But that's been really exciting too, to be able to, for people to start to see the evolution of them, because this is my introduction to the music industry has been a very steep learning curve, obviously, but if I've learned, one really big thing, it really comes down to you're only as good as your live content, because with no disrespect to the music industry, coming out with produced sound is great. And if you have a great producer and you have great music, all of that sounds great, but you still have to be able to walk on a stage and entertain people. And that's more than just singing the songs and playing the instruments. It's how do you interact with the crowd, and how do you, and that stuff has to evolve. And I think that's been such a big part of getting live content out there. And then having the reactors pick up the live stuff has been really fun to watch too.
I bet.
Actually, today, Bullet with Butterfly Wings came out on Spotify.
Drops today, December 31st. Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to it this morning.
I'm hoping that this video will be out within just a couple of days, but we are filming this on December 31st, so y'all know. But
Happy New Year.
Yeah, seriously, where did this year go?
It did go
Well,
by
I just
fast.
said this to the band the other day. They were here on a couple days ago, and I was like, if you guys actually sat down and just reflected on 2024, like, again, take your age out of it for a second, but you guys like recorded an EP, put out your first like storytelling music video. You played in different cities for the first time. You recorded your full second EP. Like, it's wild.
That's crazy.
It's been a crazy year.
Yeah.
I have a feeling 2025 might be crazier. But
Hey, I'm here for it. I'm gonna cross my fingers for that one.
yeah, me too.
Okay, we're going to cut right here. We still have part 2 that I'm going to be recording tomorrow. And I was nervous. I was like, with me having a hard time focusing, it was engaging and it was very informative, and I really enjoyed this interview. And you could see that the bond between, I'm guessing, BEL, and Ginny, the band, and the moms and the dads and everything like that. I love it. Okay, well, if there is any other, you guys go ahead and leave me some links. It doesn't even have to be just Freeze the Fall and the warning. I need to, people putting in some comments, like suggesting some songs, and I am definitely down. And when I was told that Freeze the Fall is a big, they love like old horror, like slasher and different kinds. I was already on board. And like I said, I think that I really, VHS is totally up my speed, up my alley. I absolutely love it. I want to contribute because I believe in these for them, and I know that they're gonna get really, really huge. I don't know what else to say, but okay, if you like, please subscribe. And if you're subbing and liking and commenting and stuff, my numbers are going great finally, and I it makes me feel good. It makes me feel motivated. We care about certain things as a reactor where you want to make sure that you're doing a great job, that people are entertained. I am mainly just entertainment. I could be a friend to hang out with on the couch, watching TV, music videos, and be like, look at this band, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I'm a homegirl. So if you ever want to talk or anything like that, I have Discord. It's free. It's in the description. I always put the direct link, like from this. It'll be underneath. Direct link below. I hope that you've been enjoying the warning, and you all have been helping me so much with lyrics and such. It's hard as a first reactor, but I enjoy it. You get the first impression of me, and I'm honest to a fault when it comes to that. And I'm just yammering around. Just keep talking. I will talk to y'all later. Lots of love. Bye bye, bye bye, bye.